Hello everyone! So as a follow-up to the Metroid play order video, I was asked what I thought of Metroid Dread. Well, since I'm here waiting 4 months for this game to come out, I decided, hey, sure, let's do it. And yeah, I mean, no point beating around the bush. As I'm sure you guys can tell, I'm pretty excited for the game.
Yeah.
That said, I have watched a bit more of the Metroid Dread gameplay and I have several things to say about it, so let's get this started. Also, fair warning, I will be bringing up spoilers for the entire 2D Metroid series, Fusion and Zero Mission in particular, as all of the 2D Metroid games are built off the events of the last, so if you want to play the games first, please go do so now. After the events in Fusion, the Federation receives a transmission showing that an ex-parasite is alive and well on planet ZDR. The Federation sent robots known as Emmys to retrieve it, but lost contact with them, leading Samus to go to the planet to confirm for herself whether there are any. From what I've seen, this seems like a really cool progression of concepts from previous Metroid games. Allow me to explain, as knowing that this game was originally conceptualized years ago actually makes a lot of sense. In Metroid Fusion, there are these infamous sections where you're chased by a Samus lookalike called the SAX. Thing is, these were scripted moments that could only happen in a linear game like Fusion, and these sections were very short. In Metroid Zero Mission at the very end of the game, Samus loses her suit and has to sneak through a space pirate ship. This section was crawling with enemies that could kill Samus in a few hits, and it was a fairly elaborate area with lots of ways to get caught and then have to run for your life and hide. This leads us to the Emmys, which take both ideas from before, but turn them into roaming enemies that travel from room to room and can detect every little sound you make. These things seem terrifying and relentless, and in some ways also remind me of Alien Isolation in a weird way, which is really fitting when I think about it. Now, when I first heard this, I was kind of concerned about how it would affect exploration, but it seems like this only happens in certain zones which are very heavily telegraphed with these weird block distortion entrances. From a plot perspective, for some reason, Samus apparently wakes up in the middle of the planet when the game starts, and it has me really curious what is going on with this planet as we try and make our way to the surface. Additionally, I didn't really notice it in my original reaction, but there seems to be an actual live Chozo on this planet. If you don't understand how significant that is, there has never been an on-screen Chozo in any Metroid game, including the Prime series. Basically, right before the entire Metroid series started, the entire Chozo species across the galaxy, maybe due to bad luck or fate or who knows, just suddenly up and disappeared or died out. On top of that though, this does not appear to be just any Chozo, but one from the Chozo memories in Samus Returns. Now the motives of this Chozo are unclear, but if the Chozo memories are anything to go by, I don't imagine this guy is a friendly intent. Whether this planet is its own base or not though, I do not know. Also, it looks like they incorporated data rooms a la Fusion, where you can communicate with Adam. No, not that Adam, this Adam. Since he is the AI inside of your ship, I'm actually really excited to see the cool Adam in a game again. I don't know if he blatantly points you towards plot like Fusion, but I think it'd be cool to have him there for plot and as an optional hint system for players. I think something I really like about the gameplay from what I've seen is that it seems like the environment is more open than Samus Returns, but makes a lot of clever use of the mechanics of that game. One thing I really liked about Samus Returns is how the game makes use of all of your abilities, but I did observe in many cases it was by doing stuff like making charge shot doors, which annoyingly have made a return in this game. If you don't know why, every 2D Metroid game has timed endings, and these doors can really break your pace if you don't plan ahead of time. Hoping there aren't too many of these. I'm working on a Let's Play for Samus Returns right now, but my favorite part of the game was its combat and boss fights, and it looks like they kept most of what worked in that game, which is great. Samus can aim in 360 degrees, and can counter enemies like before, and now she's come equipped with a dash counter move, which is great and helps keep the pace going, unlike Samus Returns, where in the early game you definitely stop to do the counter a lot. Another thing that returns from Samus Returns is the Aeon powers. In Samus Returns, the Aeon powers were used for all sorts of things, and they've clarified that most of the Aeon powers in this game are actually going to be completely different than the ones in the previous game. They also mentioned that when your Aeon meter actually runs out, it actually depletes from your own HP, which actually seems like an interesting incentive to not use it as much. Also, I really like the magnet wall upgrade, since it seems to be a nice way to incorporate the ledge grab and ladder climbing from Metroid Fusion, without actually doing it directly. I just think it's a really cool inclusion. Overall, it seems like this game is actually a really interesting blend of multiple Metroid games, and I can see the influence from a lot of them peeking into it. I personally also really hope that this game is going to be one of the longer ones, since most 2D Metroid games tend to be kind of short, as long as the timed ending is fairly forgiving. If this game normally is beaten in around 11 hours and it has a timed ending for under 2 hours, I'm going to be very upset. They also showed a boss fight in this demo that looked really cool and dynamic. Samus Returns unfortunately didn't have a lot of unique bosses due to the nature of the original Metroid 2, making you fight the same Metroids over and over, so hoping there are tons of bosses like this that really make good use of your pattern recognition and reaction time. We also see an Emmy that looks incredibly damaged, and since we've seen from, other footage that Samus herself cannot damage these things, it really begs the question of what messed up this Emmy, and I'm really curious if there's any sort of explanation for that, especially with the X-Parasites involved. It is making me kind of curious if there is going to be something else in this, but that is all I will say for now. I'm not really much of a theory guy, so that's why I don't really want to delve too much into it aside from what I've said already. And like I said, I kind of want to keep myself surprised when the game comes out, and I'm really interested to see what they do with the rest of this game. One last thing that I also really loved was the animation detail where Samus reacts to walls when you get close to them. I don't think I've seen this amount of detail in a 2D Metroid game since Super Metroid, which is very fitting as this is the first 2D Metroid on a console since Super Metroid. Overall, from what I've seen of the gameplay, this looks extremely promising and I'm absolutely hyped for it. If I have any hopes, I'd really like to see if this game could bring back the sequence breaking of Zero Mission and Super Metroid, but I realize with the whole Emmy system, I don't see this game being that open. I'm betting this game will land somewhere between Samus Returns and Zero Mission in terms of openness, but we'll see how it plays out in execution. What do you all think of the game? Feel free to comment below and let me know what you are most excited for in the game. If you're a big fan of Metroid, like I said, I'm working on a Let's Play of Samus Returns and plan to do a blind LP of Dread once that drops. Because of this, I won't be making any more videos on Dread as I want to keep it spoiler free. Hope you understand. Still, I hope you enjoyed my analysis and thank you so much for watching the video. Have a good one, everyone.